I do get a bit frustrated when I see some of the retired people that come here who go, "Oh, but I miss my grandchildren." Well, you should have thought about that before you came here. But that, you need to view that. You need to have in your head that you will spend £10,000 a year with Aureni bringing your family here, and you must have budgeted that in your head. And when you put it to people
That's a very
like
good point.
that, they think differently.
Mm,
So it's all about optics in their minds.
I love that.
And when you think of what we have here, I mean, you have social interaction. I still find that I meet people every day here who I didn't know lived on the island. And one of the questions you get asked, well, don't you find it a bit socially claustrophobic? Well, no, because for the reasons I've just told you. But then I also ask them back, so how many people do you know that live in your town? Okay, they probably know about four. So you're seeing the same four people. People aren't honest about their own lives. You find that they've got a group of 8 couples that they see regularly. That's their life. Well, in Alderney, you've got a much bigger range, much closer. You don't have to put things in the diary like, let's have dinner in 3 months' time. Isn't it? It's like, what are you doing on Wednesday?
Yeah.
you know, and the sense of belonging, the sense of joining a community for people with small kids here, it's paradise for them.
Mm.
They don't have to worry about, there's nothing much that can go wrong. Whereupon in the UK now, it's a very different. I mean, when I was growing up, my parents didn't think anything allowing us to drive or cycle off to Richmond Park and go around Richmond Park by ourselves and come home. That is not on the menu now. It's not on the agenda.
No way.
Because no parent would do that now or whatever. And here you've still got that. You've got that freedom. You've got that knowing that people will always know where your kids are. People will always they will keep an eye out for you. I mean, the traditional values that people enjoy. The UK has become very suburban and very cold in terms of, when I had my flat in London, I only knew one person as a neighbour. That was it. There's not the great interaction that people think there is, and it's actually quite I wouldn't say lonely life, but I would say it's hard, very hard work. And upon Alderney, you sort of join into a system. Okay, you could argue that the friends are more immediacy friends, but does it really matter? Are we going to categorize that? So if you're a sort of a soul out there that's looking for a soul mate in terms of a community, this has got a lot to offer. You've just got to get your head over the fact that it is going to be always expensive to get on and off an island 3 miles by 2 miles, of which there's only 2,000 inhabitants, because the laws of volumes will mean that it's expensive. But if you just view that as a tax, because you pay a lot more in taxes in the UK than what you get.
Mm.
For instance, council tax in the UK is 5 times bigger than here. Well, then there's your FS. Bang.
And no VAT, which is
no
great.
VAT.
Great for Amazon.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, we can't deny our cost of living food here is high, and we can't deny that. Okay, so
it can be a little bit more expensive.
We can't paint the pantomime too much.
No, but there are good and bad bits, and I found that I'm a lot more useful.
Have I
here.
convinced you?
Well, you've always convinced me, Edward. I always find myself thinking something completely different after talking to you. But I think this is, I love this island because I'm one of a million filmmakers in the UK, and we've never had a podcast on Alderney. So the fact that I get to interview the Alderney legends, and
Well,
people
I wouldn't say that.
Well, you are a legend, and you are an
bit more
Alderney.
myth than rumor.
You are a myth, but I hope people have listened to this today and they've realised something in that, and they've got a bit closer and a bit more connected. So I'm very, 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 very grateful for your help. Is there anything else that you think that you'd like to say to the people listening or watching this before I let you get off to your meetings?
I would say that the most important thing is to be positive. The answer is yes. Now, what's the question? Okay, that's the way I would like more people to do stuff on Alderney and be the mindset. Because I think one of the biggest issues I see here is the lack of comparatives. Because people who spent all their life here, okay, don't really know what the reality is away from here, and they get a big shock when they go away from here. They realize what they have here is so precious, and I that is something that we really need to work on, so that people can actually understand, really value the wonderful life work life
Mm.
I don't want to say skills, but life balance or
Work-life
whatever,
balance. Yeah.
that we have here. Because it if you wanted, if you played here, if you wanted to do golf, tennis, paddle, bit of music, I'm just doing the things that I kind of do, um and the gym, all right, I don't really go there actually, but assuming that someone does, right, you know, those five hobbies in Surrey would set you back about 7 to 8 thousand quid. In here, you can get it all under £800 for a year. So and it's you don't have to
And
drive.
it's like
It's all
minutes
here.
away. Like you can walk
Mm,
everywhere. I mean, obviously everyone does have a car because it's just,
too many.
well, it's
Mm,
just easier. But
mm,
that's the interesting thing about this island is that, like, yeah, I think
mm,
there's a lot of negativity only when people,
mm,
don't realize that the rest of the world is actually, in a
mm.
challenging space as well. So
Well,
well, okay.
the other thing which I do think is needs to be said, okay, is that, like, I'm doing the tennis and paddle club now, but you've always got to be thinking of the future, and you've always got to be bringing in younger youth. If you don't do that, then things will fizzle out. And there are some older people here that need to learn that lesson. And I've witnessed some pretty awful examples of blocking, where they have not thought about it in terms of the future of that organization. They want it run exactly how they see it, but they never thought of how it's going to
Passing on
progress.
the baton.
And that's something which is, I will never be ever accused of. If I'm too old to do it, so I stop, you know.
Well, actually, you're
Mm,
one of the younger ones, which is brilliant.
I
So
know.
we're
Well, maybe I'm safe to say that.
well, look, Edward Hill, thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure we'll do another episode in the future, and of course, I wish you all the luck with the States. And
Well, I think I'm going to need it anyway. But no, I have to say I enjoy the challenge. It's been a very it uses every ounce of my brain. The topic matters. We have to be familiarize ourselves with, is, from integrated health plans to renewables to international law to counts, finances, civil service procedure. It's And then actually being, and lobbying, which, so it's a good, it's a very good training, and I'm enjoying it. It has its moments.
no, I bet it does.
Mm.
Well, thank you for coming on the show today.
Well, thank you.